I look at you, and I do not see a victim of circumstance. I see a craftsman of stagnation. You claim to be waiting for the right moment, for the fear to subside, or for the world to grant you permission to finally begin. The truth is that you are terrified of your own will. To act, to choose, and to assert yourself is to separate from the collective womb of safety and enter the cold isolation of individuality. You prefer the slow decay of someday over the sharp, necessary pain of psychological birth. Your external obstacles are mere projections of this internal refusal. You have built a fortress of excuses not to keep the world out, but to keep your true self locked in. Because if you actually succeeded, you would have no one left to blame for your existence but yourself. 1. The womb of stagnation. I observe how you cling to your routines and your familiar miseries as if they were life rafts. You tell me you are bored or stuck, but I see a person who is deeply invested in staying exactly where they are. This is not a lack of opportunity. It is a desperate attempt to remain in a psychological womb where every need is met by the comfort of predictable failure. If you fail predictably, you never have to face the unpredictable terror of your own potential. I know that for you, the unknown is more frightening than a lifetime of quiet desperation. You have traded your individual will for a counterfeit sense of security. Every time you choose the safe path, you are committing a micro-suicide of the soul. I see the way you look at those who dare to create their own reality. You call them lucky or reckless because you cannot admit they simply have more courage to be alone than you do. Individuality is a lonely mountain, and you are terrified of the altitude. You would rather suffocate in the valley with the masses than breathe the thin, sharp air of self-determination. This is the first sabotage, the refusal to be born as an individual. You are still waiting for a parent, a boss, or a partner to tell you it's okay to walk. I don't care about your reasons for not starting that project or changing your life. Those reasons are just the walls of the nursery you refuse to leave. You use your past as an anchor, claiming that what happened to you dictates what can happen for you. I tell you that the past only has power because you use it to justify your current paralysis. You are not a product of your history. You are a victim of your current refusal to act. You are using your trauma as a shield against the responsibility of the present moment. When I talk about the will, I am talking about the force that breaks the shell. You are currently thickening your shell with every day you spend preparing. Preparation is often just a sophisticated form of avoidance. You are sharpening the knife, but never cutting the cord. I see the intellectual games you play, reading more books and seeking more advice, all to delay the moment where you must stand on your own 2 feet. You are trying to think your way out of a problem that can only be acted out of. The conflict you feel is the pressure of your unborn self screaming to be let out. You misinterpret this pressure as anxiety or depression, but it is actually the energy of life being turned inward because it has no external outlet. Because you refuse to exert your will on the world, that will is now eating you from the inside. It manifests as self-criticism and physical lethargy. You aren't tired, you are suppressed. You have redirected the force of your creation into the force of your own containment. I want you to realize that no one is coming to rescue you from this comfort. The world is perfectly happy to let you remain a shadow, a consumer, a face in the crowd. Your disappearance into the collective is a relief to those who fear their own individuality. By staying small, you validate their cowardice, and you have entered a silent pact with mediocrity. I won't challenge my limits if you don't challenge yours. It is a pathetic agreement, that ensures you will die without ever having been truly alive. I see you looking for signs and omens, waiting for a green light from the universe. The universe is indifferent to your hesitation. The only light that matters is the one you ignite through the friction of your own action. You are waiting for the fear to vanish before you move, but fear is the heartbeat of growth. If you don't feel the cold wind of terror, you aren't moving toward the edge of your existence. You are just pacing back and forth in your cell. Your will to live has been replaced by a will to survive. Survival is for animals. Creation is for humans. You are surviving your days, counting them down like a prisoner, each while claiming you want freedom. Freedom is not something you receive. It is something you take by force from your own inhibitions. It is the act of asserting "I am" in a world that would prefer you be "they are." You are currently an echo, not a voice. I see the resentment building in your eyes when you see others succeed. That resentment is the most honest part of you. It is your suppressed will recognizing its own cowardice. You don't hate them for their success. You hate yourself for your refusal to risk. You use moral superiority to mask your fear, claiming you don't care about such things, when in reality, you are simply too afraid to try and fail. Your humility is just a mask for your terror of being judged. If you do not choose to be born now, you will spend the rest of your life as a ghost in your own skin. You will walk through the years, attending the funerals of your dreams, until you finally attend your own. The discomfort you feel right now, listening to me, is the only real thing about you. It is the friction between the person you are pretending to be and the individual you are refusing to become. The womb is becoming a tomb. It is time to leave. 2. The guilt of the creative. Will you feel guilty every time you want something for yourself, don't you? I see you shrinking your desires so they don't inconvenience anyone or make you stand out too much. This guilt is not a sign that you are a good person. It is a sign that you are terrified of the responsibility of your own power. To create your own life is to destroy the expectations others have of you. You are choosing to be a good child or a loyal friend, rather than a sovereign individual, and you are paying for it with your soul. I see you apologizing for your ambitions as if they were crimes. You have been conditioned to believe that asserting your will is an act of aggression against the group. So you repress it. But repressed will doesn't disappear. It turns into poison. It becomes the leakage of your unconscious. The snide remarks, the accidental failures, the psychosomatic illnesses. You are making yourself sick so that you don't have to face the guilt of being strong. The truth is that every act of true self-assertion is a separation. When you decide to live your own life, you kill the version of you that lived for others. This is the source of your profound discomfort. You are afraid that if you become who you truly are, you will be abandoned. And you might be. But I ask you, what is the value of a connection that requires your non-existence? You are holding on to relationships that are predicated on your continued stagnation. I hear you talking about balance and compromise. These are the words of the defeated. You use them to justify why you haven't fully committed to your own vision. You are trying to please the ghosts of your parents, your teachers, and your peers, even when they aren't in the room. You have internalized their voices so deeply that you think they are your own. You are a puppet who has forgotten that he is holding his own strings. Your self-sabotage is actually an act of loyalty. Loyalty to your own limitations. You reach for success, and then you pull back at the last second because the new you feels like a stranger. You are more comfortable with a familiar failure than an unfamiliar success. Success requires a new identity, and you are too attached to your old rags. You would rather be right about being a loser than wrong and become a winner. I see you playing the martyr. You give and give until you are exhausted, then you wonder why you feel so empty. It's because your giving is not an act of love, it's an act of avoidance. You are using others' needs to distract you from your own lack of purpose. If you are busy helping, you don't have to face the terrifying silence of your own empty life. You are addicted to being needed because you don't know how to want. Stop lying to yourself about your virtue. Your inability to say no is not kindness. It is a lack of spine. You are terrified of the conflict that arises when two wills clash, so you surrender yours before the fight even begins. You have become a shadow, moving through the world without leaving a footprint. But a shadow cannot feel the sun. You are cold because you refuse to occupy the space that belongs to you. The psychological birth I speak of requires you to embrace the guilt of being an individual. You must be willing to be bad in the eyes of those who want you to remain a tool for their own ends. If you are not upsetting anyone, you are not living. You are just performing. Your life has become a long, scripted play where you are the only one who doesn't know the lead actor is an imposter. I see the way you doubt your own perceptions. You look to others to validate your reality. Is this okay? Am I crazy for wanting this? This constant checking is a refusal of your own creative will. You are the only person who can define your reality, yet you treat your life like a democracy where everyone else gets a vote. I tell you, your life is a dictatorship of the self, or it is nothing at all. You are currently leaking your potential into the sand of someday. Every time you betray your own intuition to keep the peace, you lose a piece of your will. Eventually, there will be nothing left but an empty shell that responds to external stimuli. You will be well-adjusted and liked, and you will be utterly dead inside. The guilt of asserting yourself is the price of admission to your own life. Pay it, or stay outside in the cold. 3. The terror of reality creation. You love to complain about your bad luck or the unfairness of the world. It's a convenient narrative, isn't it? If the world is against you, then your failure isn't your fault. But I see the secret satisfaction you get from your disasters. They prove you right. They allow you to stay in the position of the misunderstood victim. I tell you now, you are the architect of the very labyrinth you claim to be trapped in. You are not finding obstacles. You are placing them. I watch you make choices that lead directly to the outcomes you claim to hate. You pick the wrong partners. You miss the obvious deadlines. You stay in the job that drains you. Why? Because the reality you know, no matter how miserable, is less terrifying than the reality you could create. To create a new reality is to be responsible for it. If you succeed, you can no longer blame the world. That level of responsibility is what truly keeps you awake at night. You are using your imagination not to build, but to hallucinate a world where you are powerless. You have weaponized your mind against your own progress. I see you visualizing all the ways things could go wrong, calling it realism. It isn't realism. It's a defensive spell. You are trying to protect yourself from disappointment by ensuring that you never even hope. You have preemptively surrendered to a phantom enemy. The will is the tool of creation. When you refuse to use it, your reality becomes a stagnant pond. You are waiting for inspiration or clarity to strike. But these are rewards for action, not prerequisites. You want the map before you enter the forest, but the map is only drawn by the footsteps you take. By demanding certainty, you are ensuring you never move. You are trying to outsmart the inherent risk of existence. I see you clinging to your identity, your labels, your diagnoses, your past failures. You wear them like armor. I am an introvert. I have anxiety. I am a procrastinator. You use these as if they were laws of physics. They are not. They are choices. You are choosing to be those things every single day because they give you a reason not to change. You are more afraid of being nobody, the state before becoming someone new, than you are of being miserable. Your environment is a mirror of your internal chaos. Look at your room, your desk, your relationships. They are cluttered with the leftovers of your indecision. You cannot create a new reality because you refuse to clear the space of the old one. You are trying to paint a masterpiece on a canvas that is already covered in the scribbles of your excuses. You must have the will to destroy before you can have the will to create. I don't believe you are lost. I believe you know exactly what you need to do, and you are working very hard to ignore it. Being lost is a romantic way of saying you are avoiding the path that you know is difficult. You are standing at the crossroads, complaining that there are no signs, while you are the one holding the signposts face down in the dirt. Your confusion is a fabrication of your fear. Stop looking for the meaning of life as if it's a hidden treasure. Life has no meaning other than what your will carves into it. You are the meaning maker. By waiting for meaning to appear, you are abdicating your primary human function. You are a creator who has forgotten how to create, sitting in front of a blank screen and complaining that the movie is boring. You are the writer, the director, and the actor, and you are currently playing the role of an extra. I see the way you sabotage your moments of joy. As soon as things start to go well, you feel a surge of unconscious leakage, that nagging feeling that the other shoe is about to drop. So, you drop it yourself. You start a fight, you get lazy, you forget a commitment. You do this to regain control. You would rather be the cause of your own downfall than be at the mercy of a happiness you don't feel you earned or can sustain. Your reality is not happening to you, it is happening from you, because every moment is a choice between asserting your will and yielding to the pressure of the past. You are currently yielding. You are living a second-hand life made of the remnants of other people's ideas and your own cowardice. If you want a different reality, you must have the stomach to kill the one you are currently living. It is a violent, beautiful act of will. 4. The death of the ideal self. You are in love with a ghost. I see the ideal version of yourself that lives in your head. The one who is disciplined, confident, and successful. You spend all your time comparing your real, messy self to this phantom. And because you can never measure up to a ghost, you use it as an excuse to do nothing. If I can't do it perfectly, like the ideal me would, then I won't do it at all. This is not high standards. So it is a death grip on an illusion. This ideal self is your greatest enemy. It is a psychological defense against the pain of being mediocre. As long as you have this perfect version of yourself to dream about, you don't have to face the reality of your current limitations. You are using a fantasy to avoid the work of a lifetime. I tell you, kill the ghost. Burn the ideal self to the ground so that the real, flawed, struggling you can finally take a breath. I see you waiting for the day you feel ready. That day will never come because ready is a feeling reserved for the imaginary. In the real world, we act while trembling. We act while feeling like frauds. You are waiting for a confidence that only comes after the battle is over. By waiting for the feeling, you are ensuring the action never happens. You are prioritizing your internal comfort over your external existence. Your will is being drained by the effort of maintaining your public image. You are so concerned with how you are perceived that you have no energy left for who you actually are. You are a performance artist whose only audience is your own insecurity. Every choice you make is filtered through the lens of, what will they think? You have traded your soul for a reputation, and now you wonder why you feel so hollow. I see the way you use your potential as a comfort blanket. You tell yourself you have so much talent, so much to give. Potential is the most dangerous word in the human language. It is a debt you never pay. It allows you to feel superior to those who are actually doing the work, because if you really tried, you would be better than them. But you aren't trying. You are sitting on your potential until it rots. You are afraid that if you actually try, you will find out you aren't as special as you think you are. That is the core of your fear. You would rather live with the mystery of your greatness than the reality of your humanness. You are protecting your ego at the cost of your life. I tell you, it is better to be a real, functioning nobody than a somebody who only exists in their own imagination. The internal conflict you feel is the gap between your will and your fear. You try to bridge it with positive thinking or affirmations, but these are just more layers of the illusion. You cannot talk your way into a new self. You must act your way into it. You must be willing to look stupid, to be rejected, and to fail spectacularly. The ideal self never fails, which is why the ideal self never learns. I see you retreating into spiritual or philosophical abstractions to avoid the grit of the world. You talk about the flow or manifestation because it sounds better than I am afraid to work. You are using high-level concepts to mask low-level cowardice. Philosophy is a tool for living, not a hiding place from it. If your beliefs don't lead to a direct assertion of will in the physical world, they are just sophisticated lullabies. Your birth as an individual requires the death of your childhood fantasies. You are still waiting for a world that is fair, for a path that is clear, and for a self that is perfect. None of these exist. To be a man or a woman of will is to accept the chaos and move anyway. It is to embrace your own imperfection as the very material of your creation. Thought you are a cracked vessel, and that is where the light gets in. But you are too busy trying to glue the cracks to ever let the light shine. I am here to tell you that you are not special. You are not waiting for your time, and you are not on the verge of a breakthrough. You are simply avoiding. You are a person who is choosing to be small. Until you can look in the mirror and say, I am the one doing this to myself, you will never change. The ideal self is a beautiful corpse. Stop hugging it and walk out the door. 5. The courage to assert the I. Most people don't have a will. They have a collection of reactions. I see you reacting to the news, to your social media feed, to the moods of your spouse. You are a leaf in the wind, claiming you are choosing which way to blow. To assert the I is to become the wind itself. It is the most terrifying thing you can do, because it means you are no longer a victim. If you are the I, then everything in your life is your fault and your glory. I see how you hide behind we and they. We should do this. They say that. This is the language of the coward. It allows you to disappear into the group so that you are never personally responsible for a failure. I challenge you to speak in the first person. I want, I choose, I will. Watch how your throat tightens when you try to say it. That tightness is your fear of being a separate, visible individual. You have been taught that will is about willpower, about forcing yourself to do things you hate. That is not will. That is self-torture. True will is the spontaneous expression of your deepest being. It is the yes to your own existence. Currently, your yes is buried under a mountain of shoulds. You are living a life of obligation, and you wonder why you have no energy. You are fueling your life with resentment instead of desire. I see you looking for permission. You want someone to tell you that your will is valid. I tell you that the validation of the will is the act of the will itself. You don't need a license to be yourself. You don't need a degree to create your reality. You only need the courage to stand in the isolation that comes with being a unique individual. You are terrified of being different, but being same is just a slow form of disappearance. The unconscious leakage you experience, your slips of the tongue, your forgotten appointments. Is your true will trying to sabotage the fake life you have built? Your soul is trying to blow up your life so that you can finally be free. Instead of listening to it, you try to fix it with more discipline and more structure. You are trying to repair a prison that you should be escaping. I want you to experience the discomfort of being truly seen. When you assert your will, people will look at you. Some will admire you, but many will be threatened. They will try to pull you back into the we. They will call you selfish, arrogant, or delusional. This is the test of the individual. Can you survive the gaze of the collective without flinching? If you cannot, you will always be their slave. Your fear of living is actually a fear of the consequences of your own power. You know that if you truly applied yourself, you would change the world around you. And that change is scary. It's easier to stay in the familiar gray than to step into the blinding light of your own capacity. You are dimming your own bulb because you are afraid of the shadows you will cast. I see you wasting your will on trivialities. You have willpower for the gym or your diet, but no will for your destiny. You are focusing on the vessel while the contents are evaporating. Stop worrying about the how and start committing to the what. The how is a technicality that the will solves in its stride. The what is the core of your existence, and you are currently leaving it blank. The psychological birth I demand of you is not a one-time event. It is a daily, hourly choice. Every moment you have to decide, will I be a person or will I be a shadow? Will I act from my own center or will I react to the periphery? I see you leaning toward the periphery. You are letting the world dictate your mood, your goals, and your values. You are a passenger in a car you should be driving. The individual is a creator of values, not a follower of them. You are currently a follower. You are waiting for the right values to be handed to you. I tell you, take what you want and discard the rest. Build a life that is an expression of your unique I. It will be uncomfortable, it will be lonely, and it will be the only thing you ever do that matters. The alternative is to remain a ghost, haunting a life that was never yours to begin with. I don't expect you to feel better after hearing this. I expect you to feel exposed. You are currently standing at the edge of your own existence, looking back at the safety of your stagnation with a longing that is killing you. The only way forward is through the fire of your own will. You must choose to be born, with all the blood and noise that entails, or you must accept that you are already dead. The choice was always yours, and it is the only choice that has ever truly mattered. Pick up your life and walk.